In a recent speech, our Vice President, His Excellency Amisa Arthur, spoke about how Ghana today versus the 70s, where it was the fastest declining economy in the world, today has had growth, which bests most of others in Sub-Saharan Africa. He said, and I quote, "That growth has translated into high capital incomes and real growth. Consistently rising over the years, we have substantially reduced poverty. And this shows that the growth has trickled down." Has it? Hannah Tete, Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, pointed how our contribution to agriculture has substantially increased by about 20% between 2010 to 2012. And industry, including oil and mining, has quadrupled in its contribution to GDP. In deflecting criticisms that we over-rely on commodities, our finance minister argues that our service sector is now a substantial part of GDP, close to 50%. All this is fantastic. Yet from 1992 to 2014, every year there are complaints about financial mismanagement by successive Ghanaian governments, regardless of who's in power. Our budget deficit is one of the highest on the continent, and 70% of state income is used to pay salaries in a bloated public sector with inflation rising fast. Inflation is now at double digits. The country director for the World Bank says, Ghana faces risks that it could fall into a growth trap like other countries that grow very fast and suddenly stop growing. And Ghana needs a growth strategy that is based on productivity growth, a functional public investment system, governance reform, and better education. A trends in international mathematics and science study show that we are by no means the lowest spender when it comes to education, but we achieve among the poorest results. It is these inefficiencies and a lack of scrutiny of government policy and executive power that have led some to question whether we are actually living up to the hype of being the model democracy. According to George Aite, the founder of the Free Africa Foundation, of the 55 countries in Africa, Ghana is one of only 13 democracies. He says, free and fair elections are not enough to count as a democracy. We need to reform the electoral system. Our government is bloated with more than 80 ministers. Our wage bill for the civil service consumes 70% of government income. And the government is so hungry for money that it slaps tariffs on anything Ghana moves. Ghanaians are overtaxed, and the government is spending like a drunken sailor. It's easy to see why Ghana attracts donors, investors, and tourists with our political stability and our relatively accessible markets. And in fact, I used to be one of the harshest critics of Ghana, if you look at my Facebook. And last summer, I traveled across Africa, 17 countries. I went to Sierra Leone, Liberia, I went to so many countries across Africa. And I got back to Accra. I kissed the floor. There are problems, but travel elsewhere. And you will start to appreciate a little bit how things are in Ghana. I thought our police were corrupt. I was in Nairobi. True story. I was in Nairobi and I was walking down the street, and someone was yelling to me, and I assumed it was Swahili. I don't speak Swahili, so I kept walking with my friend. Next thing I knew, someone grabbed my neck. I thought I was being robbed, so I, the little kung fu I learned, I tried to, and next I saw there's an AK-47 in my face. It's a police officer who's yelling to me again in what I assume to be Swahili. I'm looking at him and I have no idea what he's saying and I don't know how to respond. So I raise my hand and I say, I do not understand what you are saying. I do not speak your language. And he says, oh, so you are not Kenyan? No, I am not Kenyan. Where's your passport? In my hotel room in the safe, where I keep it. And then he slaps handcuffs on me and says, you're under arrest for walking without your passport. Handcuffed, I couldn't reach my phone, I couldn't do anything. So I was handcuffed for 20 to 30 minutes, trying to talk my way out of it. Eventually, he went through my pockets and took all my money. And I went back to my hotel. I was shaken by the experience. And I thought, maybe Ghana police isn't that bad. But in all seriousness, Kenya is a wonderful place. Since then, I've been to Nairobi 4 times. Since then, I've been to Nairobi since then 4 times. I'm going to Kenya again this year. I'm invested in Kenya. I think it's one of the stars of Africa. It really is. And after the peak hour comes. By the way, to anyone who needs it, I'm in the market. So, look, the reality is, we know the problems. The problems are nothing new. We know, every single person here, we know the problems. But you know what? I'm tired of discussing the problem. I'm tired of rants on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and WhatsApp. While I enjoy the comic relief, I'm tired of Tia and Tonga. Being all that we talk about, I am tired of our broken system of politics. I'm tired of an educational system that does not produce graduates that can take up the challenges we need to transform the country. I'm tired of universities churning out unemployable graduates. I'm tired of MPP condemning everything NDC does and NDC condemning anything that comes out of MPP's mouth. I am tired of our broken system of politics. I'm tired. And I'm tired of the era of rhetoric and words from all of you with no action. Ghanaians are brat. What can you do? And what are you doing? What can you do? And what are you doing? From Apple, I quote, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules and they have no respect for the status quo. You could quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. But the only thing you cannot do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some of you may see them as crazy, we see them as genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. And from Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Nelson Mandela, so rest in peace, said education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Education. And I take it a step forward here at Cornell. It is not enough to receive world-class education. What are you doing with your world-class education? What are you doing with the tools and the knowledge you are gaining from this fine institution? And how are you using that knowledge to change your world? My mother, my sweet mother, when I was young, she would tell me, before you pray, ask yourself, what have you accomplished today? If you look yourself, and she'll tell me to do it in front of the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what have I accomplished today? And if you are not satisfied with the answer, don't go to bed. And she made me do that every day. Every day she made me stand in the mirror and ask myself, what have I accomplished today? And if you are not satisfied with the answer, do not go to bed. My mother was a wonderful woman. Without her, I wouldn't be here today. I'll never forget what she taught me about excellence. I used to get hundreds in elementary school. And one day I got 95%. But I was still first in that class. So I came home proud. One knocked my head. Stupid boy. What do you mean? Blasting me. My brother came in and said, what has he done? Thinking I stolen goat meat from the soup or done something mischievous. And she said, Sangu, can you believe your brother? Look, 195. So my brother was confused. I said, oh, Mom, what's 95? My mom replied, it was multiple choice. The answers were right there. How do you argue with that? Albert Einstein said, the world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. We have to approach problem solving in Ghana and on the continent. Barack Obama said, change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. And in fact, the Constitution of Ghana, Chapter 1, Part 4, says all citizens of Ghana shall have the right and the duty at all times to defend this Constitution. So again, I ask you, what can you do? And what are you doing? We know our enemies: corruption, poverty, failure of leadership, erosion of integrity and morality, and so forth. Yet yesterday, as I went through my Bible for inspiration for what to say today, I came across Deuteronomy 21:4. When you go out to war against your enemies and see horses and chariots and an army larger than your own, you shall not be afraid of them, for the Lord your God is with you, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And when you draw near to the battle, the priest shall come forward and speak to the people and shall say to them, hear, O Israel, today, you are drawing near for battle against your enemies. Let not your heart faint. Do not fear or panic or be in dread of them. For the Lord your God is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to give you victory. Today, I invite you to declare war on our enemies. To declare war on corruption. To declare war on the forces that has held us back for transforming the continent to fulfill the promise of our forefathers, to add to the red that hovers across the black star on our flag. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in faith, and in purity. Let me echo Nkrumah I am dependent upon the millions of young Ghanaians that we help each other to reshape the destiny of this country. Let's be prepared to pick it up and make it a nation that will be respected by every nation in the world. Let us stand firm to prove to the world that when the African is given a chance, he can show the world that he is somebody. Let us awaken. Let us not sleep anymore. Today, from now on, let there be a new African in the world. I want us to start a movement today of young people who say no to corruption, who say no to mediocrity, who say no to divisive partisan politics, who say no to tribalism, who will stand up with me, one nation before God, and will pledge to fight for Mother Ghana, to dedicate our lives to Mother Ghana, and to die if necessary for the good of Mother Ghana. And do not stand if you're not prepared for this sacrifice. Do not stand if you're not prepared to etch the blood with the red of our forefathers. But if you're concerned about the fate of our children and our grandchildren, if after 57 years you weep like I weep, and you know deep in your heart that our generation has not honored our forefathers, then stand with me. Stand with me today. Put your right hand over your heart and pledge your lives to Ghana, before everyone here and before God, to dedicate your life to service to Africa, to add in your blood to the red on our flag, and to help him build a prosperous, blessed, united republic. God bless you, God bless Ghana, and God bless all of Africa.